In the world today, we're having a big problem with miscommunication. I know what you ought to do. It's time to learn a little bit more about body language. You're probably noticing that there's a lot of miscommunication going on in the world. And if you're not noticing it, all you got to do is look closely at your personal relationships. And you're going to see that you struggle understanding other people, and you tend to be a little confusing to others when you talk. So what's the big deal? Why? Because we have so much technology. Why is technology not helping us communicate more clearly? Well, there is a very important part about communication that we actually don't go to school for. We go to school to learn about math and English and history and science and all these things, but we don't go to school to learn how to communicate. Once in a while they'll teach you how to give a presentation in school. You get your little board and you stand up and do your presentation, but they don't teach you how to communicate with your body language. Everybody uses their body to communicate. It is part of communication between us and other people. But right now, body language is all seen as, this interesting thing you can watch. And there's even people out there who say that body language doesn't play any part of communicating with people. Well, it's a huge piece of communication. It is a large part of the percentage of communication that happens between us and other people, because we have ears and we have eyes. We listen to what people say, but we're also watching how they move. So because you don't know about body language, it's because your school didn't teach you about body language. Your parents didn't teach you about body language. But body language is gigantic. It's huge. And when I started to figure out that I was lacking the skill of reading other people's body language, it made sense why there was so much miscommunication. So for you, right now, I hope that this stirs you to actually go and start studying everything you can find about body language. Because I will tell you right now, if you do not study body language, you will struggle in school, you'll struggle with your friends, you'll struggle with dating, you'll struggle with marriage, and you'll struggle at work, you'll struggle with your boss, you'll struggle with your employees, you'll struggle with your clients, you'll struggle with your prospects because you lack communication skills. Talking is only a small percentage of communication. Writing is only a small percentage of communication. But body language is going on all the time. Now, here's a reason why you want to study body language is because when people go to speak, they can actually shut their mouth and edit or stop saying particular information. They can edit it. But what happens is people don't focus on how to edit their body language. So body language has more of a pure message to it than actually what's coming out of a person's mouth. And so if you want to know the whole story that's going on inside of a person's head, you listen to what they say, and then you notice how they move. So body language plays a huge role in the communication process between us and others. Now, a big part that body language plays is there are many things that we feel that we don't say. We'll feel something and then we'll actually change the words. We'll actually, even kind of make it sound better than what it really is. Most people actually don't tell the truth. You ask them, how you doing? And they go, good. But inside they're not doing good. And we try to make it sound like everything's okay and everything's all right. Now, socially, that's what we do to each other. But what if this is your son or your daughter and you really want to know how they feel? What if this is your spouse and you really want to help your spouse, but they're not telling you the real story? Well, body language exposes how a person really feels. Now, the reason why it's important to notice this about what it exposes is because people are trying to cover up how they actually feel and how they actually think. And people confuse themselves that they can't even tell the truth. And because they can't tell the truth, then they can't express their truth to other people. And now we got a big mess of miscommunication. And this is why spouses can't align with each other and get things fixed. This is why parents struggle with their teenagers. And while teenagers struggle with their teachers, is because there's a whole bunch of half-truths being said, a whole bunch of lying and covering up what's really going on. We're kind of messed up as a human race. We're kind of messed up because we don't tell each other the truth. But I have found that by reading body language, what happens is I'm able to see another side of the conversation. I'm able to notice more of the truth of what's happening to a person because it exposes the truth, not exposes their private life, it exposes their truth. Now, as a dad and a husband and a business owner and a coach and a mentor and a trainer, this has really helped me. Because when somebody's struggling and they can't fix their life, number one, they're not even telling themselves the truth. And number two, they're trying to tell me what's going on, but I watch their body language to see the rest of the message. So the reason why I'm talking to you today about body language is because to open up your mind to be able to go, man, I got to learn about this. I got to really check in and go, what is this and how does it work? Now, body language also emphasizes certain parts of the story, and it also shows the intensity of the conversation. So here's an example. What if a dad said to his kids, hey kids, we need to clean up the house today? Or what if he did this? Kids, we need to clean up the house. Those two different examples, you can tell which one dad is more amped about. Which one is like racking his soul a bit more because he's like slapping his hand or he's punching his hand. So the body language actually shows the intensity of what's going on. Or you ask somebody, here's another example. I'll do two parts of this example. You can ask somebody, how are you doing? And their response will go like this. One example is they'll do this, they'll say, oh, I'm good. And their head all drops after they say the question. Or you'll have somebody say, oh, yeah, I'm good. Okay, which person is more stressed? They both said exactly the same thing, but one's rubbing their face, the other one's just looking down. The one who's rubbing their face, it's a much more intense situation for them. So not noticing body language, not even paying attention to it, actually puts you in the blind spot. It actually puts you in a place where you're the one not knowing. You're the one who doesn't know what's going on because you don't know how to read body language. So what do? How do you learn about body language? How do you, because you're probably wondering, well, what do I watch for? What do I do? Well, you got to watch this video and the other videos I have, and because I got more videos coming to you about how to read body language. Pay attention. But let me give you a couple cues though. While you're with a person and they are speaking, not only get captivated by what they say, but stay so present that you can actually glance and watch their hands, their mouth, their head, their face, their posture, and you ask yourself, if I was doing that particular movement, what would I be thinking? If I was doing that move, if I was doing this, what would I be thinking? Or if I was rubbing my face intensely, how would I be feeling? I swear that the easiest way to begin noticing and reading body language is whatever you see happen on someone else, like what they're doing, you pose the question to yourself of like, wow, if I did what they're doing, what would I be thinking or feeling that would cause me to move that way? And if you could turn your mind to actively listening, not only with your ears, but with your eyes, if you could actively be listening with your ears and your eyes, you will start to hear the whole story. Because when there's a miscommunication problem, it's because that there's parts of the communication, parts of the information gone. It wasn't even there. And you are having more challenges than you need to right now about communication. So today's the day to start studying, start watching. And let me give you some other inside tips. You can read all the books in the world about how to read body language, but unless you activate your mind while you're with a person to begin watching, all the education is not going to do anything for you. It is an active experience. And that means you actually have to activate a part of your mind to actually watch the person. Watch and analyze, not watch and judge. Watch and analyze. And you pose a question to yourself. If I was doing that, what would I think? What would I be thinking or what would I be feeling that would cause me to do a similar movement? Okay, but here's a couple little heads up though. It does not give you permission to sit there and scan a person's body. If somebody was looking at me and they were scanning my body up and down, that would be so creepy. That'd be so creepy. So you don't do that. You don't scan people's bodies while they're talking to you. You will creep people out. Well, what you do is you can look in a person's eyes or look at their face and begin to stretch your peripheral vision so you can see the movements of their hands. If their hands are moving over here, or down here, or up here, that you can see that without having to stare so fine-tuned to every little movement that they're doing. Today's a great day to improve your communication. Your communication problems are because of you. They're not because of other people, they're because of you. You are the receiver of information. And if you don't up your game of understanding the input, of increasing the input of what other people are saying to you through their language and through their movements, if you don't up your game of being able to receive more information, you are going to continue to be the problem in the communication experience. And it will actually give you a level of empowerment, maybe even a little bit more empowerment, that if you don't understand something that's going on in the communication, you pose questions. You never just leave a situation where it's at. If you don't understand what's going on, you ask questions. And I'll tell you this, when I read body language, it brings up a lot of questions for me to ask. Because I want clarification. I want clarification because if I have clarification, now I understand what's happening, and then we don't waste time with miscommunication. It's just terrible to waste time because then it's hurt feelings, hurt people, lack of time, waste of resources, waste of energy because of miscommunication. But if you're having issues with your kids and communicating with your kids, it's you. If you have, it really is. If you have a challenge with your husband or your wife, it's you, or your boyfriend or girlfriend, it's you. Because you're the one in charge of listening. You're the one in charge of making sure the communication is correct. You're in charge that all the details are communicated clearly. Never, ever, ever expect another person to be in charge of the clarity of the communication. You are in charge. The biggest mistake I hear about people with communication is that they say, if they would have just explained themselves better, I would have better understanding. And that is the source of a global epidemic of miscommunication. Because they're waiting for the other person to be better, when we are the ones who need to activate our ears, activate our eyes, and really start to pay attention to the rest of the story through body language. And hear me on this one. Texting and emails and emojis are literally diffusing and degrading our skills of reading body language. You are going to see us as people become more in a state of confusion. Even though we got all this technology, you're going to see families struggle, marriages struggle, friends struggle, students struggle, teachers struggle, and they think technology is here to save all of us. What is going to save us is better listening skills. That's what's going to save us. In our families, our marriage, our kids, everything we do, work, everything. And listening skills are up to you, not up to them. It's up to us. So reading body language is a listening skill. It's a listening skill. And you get to jump in and start learning and ask the question, what would I be thinking or what would I be feeling? What would I be thinking? What would I be feeling that would cause a similar movement like what I see happening on this person right now? That is a solution to your problems with miscommunication. Okay, check it out. It's time for you to learn more about how to read body language. So definitely click subscribe so you don't miss any of the training videos you're going to receive here on this YouTube channel. And also click the link below so that we can send you to some videos to learn more about body language. Hey, we're here to help so that your life can get better.